What's up, everyone? It's Isaac Smolden, the production manager here at My House. Just a reminder that today's episode of My Voice is part 2 of a 2-part series with our guest. So if you haven't listened to part 1, you're going to want to go back to season 2, episode 8 before listening to this episode. All right, without any further ado, let's get right into it. Enjoy the show. My Voice is a chance for those who have struggled with addiction, homelessness, depression, and domestic violence to have a candid conversation about their life experience, current situation, and future goals and aspirations. Every episode is conducted anonymously to facilitate a comfortable and safe place for guests to tell their story. We now join a My Voice conversation, already in progress. So
had the baby.
you had a baby.
That's the end of that chapter.
It's the end of that era.
Yeah. So that, all that toxicity, all those people, I just totally cut them all out. And at that point, I'm also dealing with everybody who I know not believing me, that he did assault me. Like, how could somebody like that do something like that?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, it's really not that hard to believe. So everyone just hating on me. I'm just trying to do the best I can, like cut out every toxic thing you could. I thought at the time I still was holding on to a lot that I shouldn't have been for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely, started fresh. And like, ever since like I had her, like, that's just it. Like you're not the person that you were before your mom, and you just do whatever, for your kids. And yeah, that's it. Like, that was just the breaking point. And like, nobody supported me besides like my family. And then I had like a couple of close friends, who were there for me for sure. Throughout the pregnancy,
So there's that theme of isolation coming back.
Totally.
Again.
From like childhood to, and then even in high school, like I definitely felt, set apart from other people, and also just feeling like black sheep in my family too. Like, I'm not even blood related to anybody in my house. Like, you feel very secluded, and I did feel, so alone, and especially not having a partner to like have this baby with and do this whole thing. And I'm 19 years old. Like, I don't know anything,
right?
And you think you know stuff because you've been through stuff, but you don't actually know everything. Like I thought I did or whatever. But
it's a big change. So then those next couple years, you're a single mom, and you're working during that time, right?
Right. And so then I meet, while I'm working as a single mom, I meet my youngest's dad. And we dated just for a very short time. We were working at the same spot. Then right after that, I got kicked out of my mom's house, downtown Wasilla, with a baby, 6 months old, because we're not getting along. Actually, before that is when I got kicked out of my mom's twice. Before that is when I was in the housing.
Okay.
Just for about a month or two in the winter.
Okay.
In housing. And so, yeah, fast forward, I got kicked out of my mom's with my 6-month-old baby, kind of jump into this relationship. I moved into his house with him and his brother, kind of very forcefully. I was kicked out and had nowhere to go.
Right.
So, this person's like, oh, like, you can stay with me, and like, let's just do this thing or whatever. And then like, fast forward, whoops, like, oh, I'm pregnant, and like, I don't even really know you that well.
Right.
And then that started a whole other 3-year-long relationship of just pure abuse and just toxicity and dysfunction, while I'm just trying to really just keep pushing, keep doing best for myself and my kids, but really just feeling really hopeless at kind of, someone else's hand. Like, I was working, but eventually, I wasn't. And he was taking care of the whole house. And in that relationship, we got evicted from multiple homes because he was kind of a person still kind of who can't really manage money well. And it really got us into a lot of really, really tough spots for a long time. Can't pay bills, like scraping pennies for diapers and wipes, and all the things. Like, got evicted from houses. I got a storage unit full of my stuff auctioned off because he couldn't pay the bill, even though he's working full time. I'm like, where's all the money going? Like in your nose, or you buying weed, or like gas station snacks and food, like legit.
Gas
like,
station snacks will get you.
bro, well, when you're a construction worker, like, yeah, he's just like buying lunch every day and just, spending all the money, not taking care of the family, just has his own trauma of his own, is kind of incapable of taking care of us. And it really, got into a lot of abusive situations. Fast forward, I have my beautiful second baby. At that point, I'm taking care of all these people, not being taken care of at all, with
Right.
a 2-year-old and a newborn that I'm breastfeeding, by the way, and cooking and cleaning and all the things alone, just like so alone. And, he didn't do a single thing at all. I don't remember one time waking up in the night, changing a diaper, didn't wake up one time in the night to hold her or help, put her to sleep. I don't remember him coming home and holding her, spending time with her or me. Like, it wasn't like that. It was like more, he was so caught up in his own dysfunction. He couldn't take care of anybody. So he just played video games and smoked weed and stayed away.
So again, just like high school, just like your first relationship, it's this dynamic of you're doing everything that you need to be doing for your kids' health, for your health, for your financial stability, but you've kind of got a boat anchor around your
That's
your
what
neck.
That's what it felt like.
Were you
so
coming
much
in here at all during that time, or
no?
You were just
nope, not at all.
Completely removed. Trying to
completely
do your own thing.
Yeah.
So
I could have, I guess, reached out for resources. Now that I think about it, back then, I just like was really trying to be independent. I didn't want to be on food stamps. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do that.
Right.
And I haven't been on food stamps for a while now, but
I can see that from you.
I didn't want to. I really wanted to be independent, self-sufficient, like prove to my parents I can do it. I can take care of these kids. Like, I got this. Like, I can really, rise above all of this crap that I've been through.
Right.
And really just, provide a great life for my kids. But also, on the other hand, it's like, man, I've been so traumatized. I don't even, from like freaking a little girl until now, like I've never stopped traumatic events. There's never not been trauma. And so it's like, how do you break move
that
forward?
cycle?
Like, how am I even breaking the cycle? Right. And so.
And we see that a lot too, right? When you're caught in that generation. And one of the first things we said is how both of your parents had you at 19. And now it seems like you're right back in
at
that.
19, dude. And it's funny, like they're totally generational situation. Like with my grandma, actually great grandma, mom, me, we all had kids pregnant at 18, had at 19, usually first girls, boys second, and same age gap and everything. And I'm like, man, this is a generational curse going on. Like, so now I have 2 girls. I'm like, I'm breaking that cycle. There's no way this is continuing. Yeah.
So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this second relationship gets to a point where you're done.
Oh, I just snap. Oh, I was a psycho. I was driven to a point where it's like, I don't even know who I am.
Yeah.
No identity.
And you've always had very like realistic and ambitious dreams and goals for yourself. I feel like.
Yeah.
Just based off of what I know about you and what we've talked about today. And what's the moment, or is it a bunch of little moments added up to where you're finally ready to stop? You're ready to start hauling some boat anchors off.
Okay.
Floating up to the surface.
He got pretty abusive. I was pretty sick of being taxi cab. Also at that point, struggling so much with postpartum depression.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
That's a killer. I'm not going to pretend I know what that's like.
It's absolutely brutal.
But
I'm like, should I drive off the cliff with all of us in the car? Maybe I should. Like, wow, this is absolutely brutal. Okay, so glad I didn't. Anyway, I freaking he got real abusive. There was one point, I'm getting backed up into a corner, yelled at, and my kids are in this house.
Right.
And I'm, getting dishes thrown at me, coffee spilt on me. I was engaged for 5 seconds, regretfully so. Don't even know why I said yes. Maybe I was just like, this is how it's supposed to be. This is how my life's supposed to be. This is how it's supposed to feel. Like, I don't deserve happiness. I'm not worthy of this, not worthy of that. Like, sure, I'll marry you. 2 months later, he flushes the ring down the toilet and says, you don't deserve it. We're in an argument and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, awesome. So that right there, it was all in the same time period. So like at that point, I'm like, okay, I gotta like get out of here somehow. We got evicted from that house, moved into someone else's home who was a mutual friend. And thank God, you know, he let us stay there. We were house sitting his house for a while. I had nothing on my own. Everything, you know, is in storage. His house isn't mine. He works all day in Anchorage, comes home. I'm taking care of kids all day. I have no friends. I don't see anyone. I'm literally like, I could walk to my parents' house down the road. I'm so secluded and like ashamed of myself and like my situation. I'm just like shunned. I don't feel like I should even be around my family. I'm like so nervous, like to even do anything.
Right.
So at this point we're in this house and it was so mentally exhausting. I just remember like, and then in the last days, like the last month, I'm like, I'm leaving you. I'm taking these kids somewhere better. I remember just like spitting loogies in my face, threatening to kill himself in front of me, like with a knife. And my kid walks out. She still has a memory of this, which is absolutely horrific to hear about from her point of view. Chasing me around the house. I'm like trapping me and my kids in this room. It's not good. I'm like, okay, I gotta get out of here. Like my daughters are not gonna watch this example of love. I will not set this example of love for my kids. They're not going to think this is a normal, healthy thing to do. Like you're going to have a healthy, beautiful, life and marriage. And this isn't going to happen. So I get my tax return, right? We got like 10 grand on that tax return.
And that's your window.
That's the thing. So I'm like, okay, he spends pretty much freaking all of it, dude. I have like, I get $2,000. Okay. Here's my deposit. Here's my first month rent. I'm going to leave. This isn't working out. Maybe you can move back when we are settled and you can figure this out. Me knowing.
So you're still not.
No. Listen, me knowing I'm not going to get back together with him. Okay. I'm like trying to just really be like
as
gentle
soft,
and nurturing as possible. I'm like, here you go, little boy. Should I like wipe your butt too? Like kind of situation. Seriously, like I cook for you, I clean for you, I do this. Like, should I wipe your ass?
Period.
Period.
Kind of woman that don't need no man.
I breastfeed at the same time and change these diapers. Like, let's go. So, anyways, at this point,
so
like,
you're out. You found an apartment and you're like deposit first month of rent.
First month rent.
Do you have?
Got it.
Did I even
have a job? It was COVID. No, we just started COVID.
Oh yeah. Okay. So there's a pandemic
2020
going on too.
Pandemic.
Yeah.
Correct.
So you are.
At
this point,
all this
you have
financial support.
The money.
Right.
You're like, I don't care.
I don't even care what happens.
I will figure out the job. I will figure out food. I'll figure out furniture. I have a roof that is not this roof. And I'm going to go there and we're going to figure it out.
And we're going to strip down the walls and heal, bro. Like I literally sat there for like, I mean, I'm still not healed, definitely. But like in that year that I was there, I just was like, who am I? Like stripping down all of the identity, anything he ever told me that I was, anything that was him, causing abuse, filling my head with lies, I'm just stripping all that away and really just tapping into like being okay in my own head alone, being okay alone. I've never been alone. I've never had a house by myself.
Right.
And then I have 2 kids alone in this house. Right. So I'm like, okay, stripping down everything, like gonna feel better, start to feel, much better. And I mean, and he's just still not helpful, still very, but he's a good dad. He just doesn't have the means to take care of them because he's just not good with money. Like he just got a car for the first time in a long time, hasn't had his own house in 4 years since we've been split, and it's like, okay, no child support, no nothing. I just kind of mentally agreed to be like, okay, you can come to my house on the weekend sometimes and hang out with them. And that was like that for a long time. We were splitting time. He would come to my house. I was working at the ale house at the time, in the evenings on weekends. So it kind of worked out. I'm like, okay, like I'm not going to take your kids from you. You don't have a safe spot for them to be at. So like when I'm at work, I need a babysitter anyway. You can come to my house and watch them. It was like that for like 2 years. not cool. Like, what am I doing?
So still not cutting the cord.
No, not really.
It's
like
still,
I needed the support.
It's still hanging on.
I needed him to watch my kids
Yeah.
while I'm at work so I can make the money. And, he's still just, hovering and just manipulating and still saying, we're still fighting. Still, it's not a healthy co-parenting relationship whatsoever. It's just not two-sided. I'm super jealous of co-parents who can healthily just let each other go, co-parent, do the best for the kids, put the kids first. That's what it's really about. And it's just like barely right now is like the first time I'm barely seeing like that. Yeah. But even just like this past weekend, there was an event and I'm like, wow, this is just like about 3 years ago. Like, you're so impulsive, man. Like, you really need to chill.
So this is all still pretty fresh, but what kind of led to you finding more of that self-actualization and being able to start steering your life, your kid's life in that direction that you've always wanted? Like this whole time we've been talking, it seems like nothing really about what you've wanted for your kids has changed, but there's all these life events, these relationships that are not allowing the boat to go the direction that it needs to go.
Yeah.
So where, again, I guess, does it happen? Is there one big event where, you end up, you're going to a class or you're reading a book or something, or is it just a bunch of little steps?
Honestly, just little steps, like accumulation of just like my whole life being like, I do deserve good things. Like I'm worthy of love, happiness. I should feel confident. I've been hurt so long. It's like never really felt happiness. I felt, happiness, of course, in other aspects, but like in a whole, like just really just lacking that whole feeling.
Well, when we talk about, I think we talk about sometimes how happiness is unattainable, because happy is a feeling, and it's here and it's gone, and it's I guess
maybe like stable,
but peace.
Peace. Yeah.
Peace is
that's
what you haven't.
Right.
That's what you haven't
Never.
had, because you have these life events or these people that are standing in the way. And even though it seems like that's always a goal that you've wanted, that's not something you've been able to find because you've had this, you've had this need of having to take care of other people and, kids,
always
relationships, brothers,
all of it.
And to me, from our conversations, you and in this conversation, you seem like you've been able to self-actualize and have these introspective thoughts and really identify who you are and who you want to be and what you want for yourself, what you want for your kids. Is what's the driving force that has led you to explore that more and
okay, maybe just like wanting to live a fulfilled life, like feeling stable, like having a partner who really can do life with, like knowing that I'm worth all of those things, like I don't need to self-sabotage these good things, like I can have the good stuff.
Right.
Also just like I've never had any of these things that I'm like imagining, I guess, like in the future, just like what I envision it to be. I just always keep that in mind, and always just really like, I spent like a year just like manifesting every single day, journaling, like manifest. I'm like, all right, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. It's going to get better.
And this is what I'm asking about. Like, so journaling, was that a tool for you?
Okay. Yes. Journaling. Yes. Okay. I have this prompt. I don't remember who I got it from. Maybe my friend, to be honest. I don't remember where I got it anyways, but it's, you just write on one spot, I am, another spot, I have, another spot, I will, another spot, I won't. And you just leave room to like really fill in those gaps.
Yeah.
And just like, whatever that looks like, just fill it in, even if you can like barely write, barely, fill in the blanks. whatever that looks like, even if it's ugly, and it can get pretty ugly, doing self-affirmations. Like it's, not healing, part of healing, like everyone's always like, butterflies, rainbows, crystals, whatever. It's like, well, it's actually really ugly. And like, you see those memes where it's like the girl, she's like freaking out, like what a spiritual awakening actually is. She's like bawling her eyes out. It's pretty much like what it is. And you just really,
less rainbows and more mud wrestling.
Just wrestling with yourself, like being present was a huge thing for me. Like just being able to sit in the quiet and be alone and like not feel that codependency.
Yeah.
Because that's huge, man. That's just a huge thing for
me. And you've
me.
always had that dynamic.
And I've never been alone, correct? Like I've never, so
You've
just
been trapped
being
in
able.
That cycle of codependency.
Yeah, like I don't even know who I am.
Right.
At this point, I don't know who I am. So really it just was that first year alone out of all that was just really discovering my wants, my needs, what this looks like, what that looks like, what do you want, what don't you want, how do you weed out the bad, how do you, fill up the tank, how do you get,
And so is this when you start getting more involved in music again?
Yeah, actually, like right after, I think it was like that next spring is when I did that talent show, and then actually won the show, and then
not a big deal.
And then started getting like booked for like all these gigs, and then we had to learn a bunch of music, and we only had one song from the talent show, and then we just ended up, okay, like people want to hear us, let's put together a 3-hour set, and and then led me to here now, and then this weekend I get to perform at what's it called, Forest Fair, and then I'm doing Salmon Fest. Like can't even believe it. Like you just like start so small and just like really, I'm just like, man, like this should be me, I can do it. Like if it's on the earth, it's available for me, like I can have this good stuff. And now
would
I'm
you say that's
here.
Part of your healing journey is healing through that, just having that activity outside of work and anyone else, like that's just an activity for you?
I think so. And just music really is just so healing for me, and I'm just so connected. It's just, it's really a getaway and a good healing, experience.
Right. And then you got plugged in back here too, and now you're working for the organization.
The manager, trainer in this cafe that I was, an intern at, like it was 7 years ago, I think. Maybe almost maybe 8 years ago.
And how long have you been here now? It's been
like 5 months. It's only been
crazy.
5 months.
It's only been 5 months,
yes.
But it's also been so long. Like so much has happened in that 5 months.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
I know.
I'm like,
can I just say how thankful I am that you're in the cafe, because you are such a presence in there that everyone needs and that we need, because that can be, our cafe is not the most poppin' cafe. Right. It's definitely slow business-wise.
It's definitely a step down from the Ale House.
But there's so much extra that can happen that just has nothing to do with being a cafe in there. Right. And it does happen
it's really
every
about
single
that
week.
Connection, really, like you're helping people out.
Right.
And thank you. Yeah, everyone's like, it's hard to see it, I guess, because for me, it's still like, it is a difficult, it's a hard job to do.
Right.
So it's nice to.
And once again, you're
be told,
kind of managing other people's stuff.
Correct. And this is just this is a problem. Right. I'm starting to, have some feels.
Right.
But there's solutions for that. So it's totally fine.
Well, and what resources are you accessing from the organization now? I feel like you've been really, as a staff member, like right away you got involved in women's empowerment stuff and some of those extra things that are going on, which I imagine helps your relationship with the clients that you're training too. Yeah,
it does. Well, of course, like when they show up, and honestly, I've been so busy as well. Like I actually haven't been in empowerment for like a month, it seems like. So it'd be probably nice, and probably should get back to doing that. But like that. And then, there's Julia's Redemption line, and I've helped, model some of her things. And shout out to her, because so awesome. Like, such a great thing to be doing. She's really good at it. But I don't know. Like, I guess I have therapy. Dr. Richard, like, he's
Shout
helpful.
out to Dr. Richard.
Yeah. And then, Judith's special Friday massage. But I wouldn't say I don't know. I guess I'm 26 now, so like I don't think I can even be considered for services.
Well, yeah,
but,
you're not getting
not
getting like client services,
right?
But
I'm not sure I'm using any resources I probably could be or should be.
Well, maybe let me rephrase.
Okay.
Like, because like obviously you're not in the age range. Like you're not a client anymore. You're working for the organization. But I guess just the first thing that struck me when I started working here, and I knew about My House, but I wasn't a client. Like I don't have that background in lived experience. But the workplace environment was so different than anywhere else that I worked. And
yeah, it is.
It's
very different.
It's very different.
I've never done anything like it.
Yeah.
I think it definitely, man, it's hard to do. Like it's very rewarding on the other hand. But in real time, you really get faced with, you know, I'm like, okay, am I going to be patient today? Okay.
I have client transport in 5 minutes.
Oh my God, you do?
Yeah. Speaking of the work, but
Isaac.
But it's so, I know for me, even when I'm doing client navigation on top of recording 2 podcasts a day, I feel like we have those resources that I never would have thought I would want to be plugged into or like would consider plugging into. And
me too. And then you just see the bigger picture and you're like, okay, cool. Yeah. Let's be part of this. Like, this is cool to be part of.
I guess in this whole journey, really your time here up until like you working here has been the longest that you've been like plugged in here in this your whole life. So you spent less time here getting direct services as a client than you have as a staff member.
Yeah.
But we still ask, and I'm really curious to hear your answer because it's...
Oh man, I'm not sure. I hope I deliver. I don't know.
What, in your time with My House, what has been the most impactful moment or service or person or experience that you've had with the organization? It's kind of a big question.
It's a big question. I've witnessed a lot of kindness and humility, and that for me, like I don't know. I've always struggled with kindness and humility. Like I've always had personal, problem. But coming in here, and seeing just what each person does every day, just for our clients, it's just really amazing to see and just like to be a part of this bigger picture. People who are working here, I think it's just very rewarding to be surrounded by like-minded people who are, trying to make a positive change, trying to make a difference. And then as well, just like, I don't know, just being kind to people, just being able to, talk to clients when they come up to grab a drink, just like small talk, just that little bit of, kindness, just that little bit of energy can really just make a huge difference, because you just really don't know what people are going through during the day, like who you're going to interact, and just showing that little bit of kindness, like during that small bit of time that you have with people, I feel like I haven't seen that before as much as I have working here.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of My Voice. For local services here at My House, please call 373-4357. That's 373-HELP.